live. Basically, we're going to be talking about how to land American business clients. I appreciate the 12 people that are currently viewing. I will go ahead and give a general overview of what we'll be doing the next hour or so. So basically, I'm going to share with you a bunch of tips and tricks and strategies that I see are successful for Filipino virtual assistants who are out there trying to land American clients. I say this from an area of expertise, having just in the past couple weeks screened almost 1,000 Filipino resumes and profiles from people looking for virtual assistant jobs for the several virtual assistant jobs that we have. And I want to congratulate Christy, who's one of our new virtual staff. She's in the audience there, so welcome, Christy. And basically what we'll be doing is really kind of going through these tips and tricks one by one that are things that I see help Filipino VAs be more successful in working with American clients. They're very specific to the audience of business owners in the U.S. They translate to outside of the U.S., so if your clients are not in the U.S., you can still learn a lot of lessons from here. And then also, this isn't just for Filipino virtual assistants, it's for anybody who's providing a virtual service. However, I will spend most of my time talking about that connection, the virtual assistant based in the Philippines who's working for an American business owner in the U.S. So really my background, just so you know, is I have a virtual assistant business, Sonic VA. It's a staffing agency, a virtual assistant agency based in the Philippines. And I've been working with Filipino outsourcing to the U.S. for almost 12 years now. I did my first outsourcing gig back in 2011, set up my first company in the Philippines in 2012, and have been doing business in the Philippines mostly ever since, especially before the pandemic. Last couple of years, I haven't been able to get back, but I'm looking forward to getting back soon. But what I have learned in all my time is that there are certain things that are strengths for Filipino VAs that help them find jobs. And there are certain things that can be a bit of a weakness. So what I'm going to do is explain some of those that you can help lean into your strengths as well as mitigate some of your weaknesses. And then talk about what it means to be an American business owner and how you as a Filipino virtual assistant need to get into the mind of the person you want to work with. You need to think like them to really add value. And I can tell you that most American business owners, unfortunately, that hire for Filipino virtual assistants, they don't have the best experience. The ones that are, it's a raving, amazing, awesome experience on both sides for the Filipino VA, as well as for the American business owner, it's not even half, I would say. It's probably closer to 30%. Most of them fail over time because it's just not a good match, because each party doesn't really understand the other. So what I'm going to do is break through some of those cultural roadblocks as well. Some of the things that could trip up a Filipino virtual assistant when it comes to working with Americans. This is the first in a series that I will do usually the first Wednesday of the month in the Philippines for the next several months, whatever it takes to help kind of grow the capacity that I have in my team. I am constantly signing up new business owners and constantly signing up new virtual assistants. So really my job is to be the matchmaker, to take people that have talent, Filipino virtual assistants, and help them connect with people who need people that can do some work for them that have talent, American business owners. So there you go. So first thing I want to talk about really is how to position yourself as an expert. Now, if you scroll down into the Facebook page, the Dan Meyer Virtual Staffing Expert page, you'll see the slides. So they're there if you want to refer back to them. But basically, I'm going to go through the tips. I won't hit every slide perfectly, but you're going to get a flow of where we're going. And we're going to start with this very simple thing. You need to position yourself as an expert in your niche. So a lot of Filipino virtual assistants have a standard resume, have a standard script they send out for job postings. And it's very, very much the same. And that's one area where you're probably going to struggle with. Now, generalist VAs can find jobs, but calling yourself a generalist is probably not going to help. You want to be able to address specific pain points with the clients. Clients will hire you if they think that you can make their life easier. It's that simple. So you have to think about what you're trying to provide a solution for. If you're good at video editing, but you're also good at graphic design, and and you're also good at social media management, and you can do data entry, and you can do email management, that's fine. But when you apply for jobs, you want to position yourself as an expert in just a couple of those. So you want to think about, how do you set yourself up as an expert? Even if you're not technically an expert yet, you can still set yourself up so you appear to be an expert on paper. And you need to be able to do that, because this is a problem that a lot of Filipino VAs face, is that they look like every other Filipino VA. And I don't mean that based on racial stereotypes or anything. I just mean on their resume. So when you set yourself as an expert, you want to first of all think about how to ditch your resume and use something more dynamic. You also want to use video, and you want to use social media to promote yourself as a virtual assistant. We'll get to those things. But I think the most important thing you can do as a Filipino virtual assistant who's looking to land American business clients is set up a Facebook business page as an expert. So most of you have a Facebook profile. In fact, all of you on Facebook right now have a Facebook profile. And that's cool. You have pictures of you and your family and when you were in college and what you do for fun and all that. And that's good. You want to be able to show that you're a real person. But when you position yourself publicly to find work, you want to have a more formal approach. A lot of people can use LinkedIn for this. LinkedIn's very valuable in having a professional looking profile. But most small business owners, most American entrepreneurs don't go on LinkedIn very often at all. Where they spend most of their time is on Facebook and also on IG, but mostly Facebook. So having a Facebook business page that you can send a link out to in lieu of sending a resume, or in case they stumble across your profile, you make sure they find your business profile first before your personal profile. If you do this, it gives you a sense of being an expert. Have a Facebook business page, right? And it's simple. Set yourself up as a business page. Have a great headshot of you. Don't use your college resume or your college photo that you're on your resume. Don't use something too wild or crazy. Have something that's a good you and a headshot. It can be a good selfie. It doesn't be professional, but something that clearly shows you. People want to work with you if they trust you. And if your Facebook profile looks like you just party all the time and you're a really fun person, but not somebody I want to trust my business to, then you can see the problem there, right? So I'm not saying change your Facebook profile. I'm saying set up a business page that you can have to be the thing that you use to introduce yourself to your clients with. So besides having that good headshot, you want to have a good cover photo, a good banner. Having something that shows what you do. Dan Meyer, virtual staffing expert. You know what I do, right? So you see that in my banners. You see that in the banners on all my social media. It's clear to people what I do. I am about trying to help business owners find staff that work virtually to help them grow their business. So you do the same thing. So if you're a great copywriter, if you're a fantastic book cover designer, whatever it is, put that in your cover photo. This is your name and this is what you do next to a picture of you. And then boom, it'll make you look so much more legit than most people that are out there looking for the same jobs you are. Basically, that's the first thing you want to do. If you haven't done that already, that's the first thing you do. Write that down. After this webinar, start calling yourself an expert in your niche, right? Own it. If you're a video editor, then you need to be able to know how to edit different kinds of videos. You want to be able to focus on, different things that you can do well, but also exclude things that you don't do well. You don't want to sell yourself on as something that can possibly learn things at a point. You want to make sure that you are the expert in where you're at. So if you're a tax accountant and you specialize in working with small businesses and you're really good at working with QuickBooks and you know how to balance people's books and do cleanup and you know how to go out and help them do some of the preparation for their tax returns, then put that right front and center on your Facebook business page in the About Us section. Put pinned to the top of your page a couple different short videos or a list of things you do. Put in your services and your products, lots of keywords that people will look at when they look at your Facebook business page and think of themselves, this is the person I was looking for. Again, put yourself in the mind of the business owner. I have several other tips I'll share with you over the next 40 minutes or so, but basically that's the first one. Set up a Facebook business page. Have that be your lead-in. I get a lot of job posts for different kinds of requirements. And then I put out those requirements on postings like Facebook Jobs or Online Jobs PH. And I get back a lot of really, really simple, unprofessional, never going to get anywhere replies from Filipino VAs because they don't lead with their social media. They don't have a link to their portfolio. They don't have a one-page marketing piece that tells people what they do. There's nothing simple on that application that a business owner can look at and quickly identify why they should hire you. Again, you need to be likable. You need to be trustworthy. You need to be somebody they want to trust their business with and someone they like to work with. So think about what your first appearance is to that business owner. If you give them a link to a Facebook business page that has all the things that you do, that's well maintained, that has testimonials and has people talking about what you do and how you do it, that's going to be so much more effective than just cutting and pasting some, hey, my name is John and I want to be your video assistant with a resume and sending that off through a job portal or directly to somebody for their consideration. It's just, you want to stand out. And most people don't. Seriously, I've gotten, like I mentioned before, I've literally looked at 1,000 Filipino virtual assistant job applications in the past couple weeks. And of those 1,000, I could easily tell you that half will never get past a paper screen because they don't have nothing about them that stands out. Another half or another quarter are going to get past the paper screening because they don't stand out versus everybody else. They're old-fashioned. They're not interesting. What they do is not really coming across. That means like 1 out of every 4 resumes that somebody's getting is maybe something's going to get looked at for more than a second. So you want to make sure that you are one of those 25%. That 1 in 4 is you. So besides having the Facebook business page, you want to think about what you send them. So you should have a resume, but not resume. And what I mean by that is that a resume is basically something people use to get corporate jobs. And in the Philippines, I see almost every Filipino virtual assistant, when they first start out, they send a resume that's geared towards getting a job in a company, a corporate job. And that's really not effective because it doesn't mean that you're interesting. It means that you're like everybody else. It doesn't really jump out at somebody who's looking to hire a virtual assistant to help them in their business. So look at your resume. Pull out your resume and look at it and think about these things. What is the photo on your resume? If it is your college graduation photo, I applaud you for graduating college. It's really cool, but no one wants to look at that. They want a nice picture of you, a good selfie that makes it look like you're somebody they could trust and work with, somebody who's real, something that really just goes, wow, okay, I want to work with this person. I want to learn more about this person. I want to get to know them better. That starts with a photo. And if you don't have a photo on your resume, then don't even bother sending it. Because even though we're supposed to live in this world where everyone just goes based on your skill sets, it doesn't work that way. We know from mountains and mountains of evidence that Facebook profiles that have a cool picture get clicked on 100 times more than ones that don't. IG and TikTok are all about how you present yourself. You have to think of the same way in your resume. What are you presenting? Now, the next thing I see that a lot of Filipino VAs do with a resume that doesn't quite help them is they lead with their education. If you're looking for an American business owner, by and large, they're not going to care that you went where and when and even what your degree is. They just care if you can do the job they need done, that you have the skills and that you look trustworthy. That's what they care about. So the top things on your resume should be your photo, what you do, like I mentioned with the Facebook banner. Your top skills should be right there in the front line. A quick summary of the skills that you have, and then maybe some certifications you have. You can list your education at least at a high level, but listing out things like internships, listing out references that are just other small businesses in the Philippines or family or people that you know from church or school. None of that is taking up space. You should have a one-page marketing profile, a one-page marketing piece, something that you can make as a one-page in a Word document and turn into a PDF that has your picture, has a headline of what you do, a brief summary of who you are, but most importantly, what skills you bring to the table. What are you able to do to help that business owner be even more successful? That's what they care about. Then when you catch their interest, you give them links to your Facebook business page, to your portfolio. If you're a video editor or graphic designer, you want to link off to folders. Most of them are on Google Drive folders, but you could put them anywhere where they can access with a link so they can look at some of the work you've done. Even if you're a fresh grad and a newbie VA, you still want to put things together. You don't want to come across as not having anything with experience. I'll talk about this a bit more in a minute for fresh grads and for newbie VAs. But for people that have been doing this already, look at your resume, stop calling it a resume, update it, and send it out there. When I went through those 1,000 Filipino virtual assistant applications, the ones that I pulled to the top all had a resume. Anyone who didn't have a resume, I did not consider. Because as an agency, I have to forward your resume to my client to see if they want to hire you. And all they have time to do is look at a one-page resume. They don't have time to look at anything else. They're going to look at your picture, look at your job, your experience, look at your skill set and say, yeah, okay, I'll interview this person or I'll consider this person. If they have to look at your college education, they have to look at your activities you've been part of, they have to look at your trainings you went to, you're not going to do it. I can promise you. This is really, you got to simplify things. One page. If you have a lot of stuff you want to put in your resume, then you do one of two things. If you have a lot of skills, like you're a video editor, graphic designer, and a social media manager, have 3 different resumes. Or drive them for more information to your LinkedIn profile, where you can push everything out. So if you're a virtual assistant looking for jobs for Americans, it's a good idea to have a LinkedIn profile. It shouldn't be your primary tool, but it should be something that you have to refer them to, where you list all your job experience, all your skills, where you get recommendations and testimonials. So that's just the first, real quick, at a high level, how to start thinking of yourself as an expert. You want to make sure you have a Facebook business page. You want to replace your resume with a one-page marketing piece. You want to make sure you give links to examples of your work. You want to update your LinkedIn so that it looks like this is your complete job history. So when somebody's looking at your application, they can see everything that you've done if they want, and they can pick and choose what they want to know more about. But you start with something simple and then add to it. You don't throw it all out there at first. I hope that helps. I'm going to ask a survey of those in the audience. How many of you have a resume that you feel is actually more of a one-page marketing piece? If you feel that you've learned that you can't just send an old-fashioned white paper, black text, college headshot, education first kind of resume, if you've learned that doesn't work for you, drop a 1 in the comments. I want to see how many of the 30 of you out there actually feel like you've learned this lesson and you're using a one-page marketing piece to find jobs and not just an old-fashioned resume. So please drop a 1 if that's you. We'll see how many of you have already started fixing that challenge. Because if you have a really good way to position yourself as an expert, you're going to be more successful. Great, a couple of you are dropping 1s. I appreciate that, right? So if you need help with your resume, you can send us your resume via email. I will give you an email link and we'll drop it in the comments. You can send your resume to info, I-N-F-O, at sonicanalytics.com. It's SONICANALYTICS. Send your resume there if you want feedback on how to fix your resume so it's even more attractive to American clients. So that's the first thing we'll do, is help you position yourself as an expert, right? So get the resume updated, get that Facebook business page going, update your LinkedIn, make it look like you're someone people want to do business with. Again, you're asking people to trust you with their business. And let's talk about this for a second. If you set up your own business, and some of you out there are probably already entrepreneurs, how many of you, of the 30 people out there in the audience, have already set up your own business? If you set up your own business, whether it be you're setting up your own agency, you're doing, you're a sole proprietor, you have a side business, you do something like that, drop me in the chat, and that will indicate that you're actually already thinking like a business owner. One of the challenges where there's a lot of disconnect, where a lot of Filipino VAs fall short, and a lot of American business owners feel like there was a disconnect. No fault of the Filipino VA as a person, but as their approach, there can be a challenge. And that challenge is you don't get into the mind of the entrepreneur. And I know you know that you have to think about business differently. You can't just do the minimum. You can't just check a few things off your list every day. You have to live it, right? To really be successful in your own business, you have to really, really lean into it and really make sure that you're putting all your effort into it. And the whole reason why most business owners will hire a virtual assistant is because they're too busy to do everything themselves. They need to delegate some things. So they're taking what they started, what their passion is all about, what their ultimate dream is, and they're going to trust you with a piece of it as a Filipino virtual assistant. You gotta respect that trust, right? If you're just in this for a quick paycheck, if you're not really going to help them try to grow their business, it's not going to work. I see a lot of Filipino virtual assistants, and again, not most, but some, that are trying to figure out how to earn a second source of income by being a VA, to set up a sideline business. And that only works if you have the flexibility with your client to kind of work at things on the side. If you have to constantly miss deadlines and can't always be there when they need you, it's going to be a challenge. So a lot of people want to set up a VA business as a sideline. You can do it, but be upfront about that. Don't try to pretend that you're trying to give your client 100% when you know you can't. On the flip side, ask the same from the client. One thing you'll hear me talk a lot about is that you have to really be more assertive. You have to take charge more. You have to be more initiative. You have to go outside of your comfort zone to engage with your clients, to make sure that they hear you, that they understand you. I'll talk about this a little bit later on as well. But the idea here is that you really need to figure out what it is that you want to accomplish. Do you want to be a part-time VA? Do you want to set up your full-time business as a VA? Do you want to set up an agency eventually, people under you? Whatever it is you're doing, you want to think about what that means, not only to yourself and your career plans, but to that of your client. You want to make sure that they're being thought of from their perspective, which means you have to think like an entrepreneur. I've recorded something close to, 500 videos in the last couple of years. Got a couple thousand followers. Basically what I do is, what I'm doing now in this live, is really trying to help share my experience, my insight, to help you be more successful. I did this for two reasons. One, there's a big need for it. A lot of Americans need help, and they don't know how to find it. And so they turn to someone like me to help match them with a VA, so they have some sense of like security that they're going to get a good virtual assistant. They're not going to just grab someone off the internet they've never met. They're going to go with somebody that's worked with me. The other reason why I do what I do, besides connecting things for American business owners, is I love helping Filipinos. I've spent most of the last 10 years trying to do whatever I can to help uplift, to help upskill train, to help empower and inspire Filipinos in the call center industry. I've taught courses in the Philippines. I've lived there for most of the last 10 years, like I said. So I love the Philippines, and I want to see the Philippines be more successful. And the way I can help do that is by matching up Filipino virtual assistants with American business owners. So I help on both sides. So I hope on both sides of the Pacific, I'm able to do some good. That's why I do what I do, which means you should do what you should do as well. You should do what you're meant to do. You should lean into your genius. You should do what you're best at. Those are the things that you want to focus your VA career on. Maybe you can do data entry, but you don't love it. So, sometimes you got to take a job to pay the bills, but at the end of the day, you want to figure out what is your genius and lean into it, right? So if you're a good video editor, own it, talk about it, share it. It should be at the forefront of all your social media, how much joy you get out of editing social media videos. Another thing that's kind of interesting is when I see a lot of Filipino virtual assistants that are very successful and having fun working with their clients, but they don't share that. They don't have it listed in their profile. They don't talk about it in their FB or their IG or wherever. So sometimes you can even get more satisfaction and more joy by letting people know what you do and how you're helping other businesses help other people. One of the cool things about all my clients, and I've got about 30 American clients right now, all of them do things that add value to the community they're part of. They're coaches, they're mindset coaches, business coaches. They do things with health and wellness and beauty. They're all trying to uplift other people. You're part of that journey. So as a Filipino VA, take some pride in that and share that. And we're going to talk briefly about how to be able to start growing your business by growing your client's business. And this really is basically social media, right? So you want to lay out a social media narrative. Most of my VAs working for most of my clients, what they generally do is they help them with social media. So what you're looking to do there is that you are going to think about how social media is impactful for running a business, for growing a business, for sharing a brand. You can do this for yourself. We talked about that actually already. We talked about branding yourself as an expert. And then with clients as well. So you want to think about how you help your clients plan. And you want your social media to have a narrative behind it. If you're going to be very successful as a Filipino virtual assistant, managing social media, doing graphics, doing video editing, being involved in copywriting, whatever you're doing to help those American business clients, it's going to have some overlap to social media. So think about what you like on social media. What grabs your attention? What grabs the attention of people that you like? Who are the influencers in your space? That's somewhere you want to spend a lot of time thinking about how you come across to them. You want to think about how it is that you build your own social media narrative. So I'll give you an example. When I build my social media narrative on IG, simple. My IG exists for one reason: to attract Filipino virtual assistants, to be a inspirer, empower, influencer, connector. I look to communicate and interact with other Filipino virtual assistants who either can work for me, work with me, or I can refer business to them. I also try to work with a lot of American business owners who have virtual assistant companies. And I work with virtual assistants all over the world. But my primary goal of my IG is to attract more people like you, more followers, right? To be able to do more good, to be able to help more people. So as a virtual assistant, most of your social media for yourself should be about trying to find more clients. Your social media should be ways that you demonstrate who you are, why you do it, and what you do, so that they're able to see that when they look at your social media. So a lot of times when I bring on board a new client, they will ask to see some of the examples of what my VAs do. And if you have a portfolio in a Google Drive, that's great. If you have a lot of stuff on your LinkedIn profile, if you have a really good marketing piece, if you have videos about yourself, that's all effective stuff, but they're still going to look at your social media. And if it's public, it's free game. So think about what you're putting in your social media. Think about how to build that narrative that supports your expertise in what it is that you do best. So you want to make sure that you really have a narrative, that you're really out there of what you're all about. So my narrative for the last couple of years has been how to help Filipino virtual assistants land American business clients. That's my brand is everywhere. This whole talk is about that specifically, right? So really the idea is that know what your narrative is and build around it. So find the influencers in your niche and follow what they do. I'm going to share with you two people that you should go check out. Write these names down: Marina Simone and Michelle Cunningham. Marina Simone is got this amazing Facebook group and IG channel and YouTube channel where she's all about helping primarily moms that are into network marketing get even better at what they do, building their brand, building up their customer list, being able to have more influence and more impact. So Marina is amazing. She's one of our clients, and I love working with Marina because we do some of her videos and her graphics, and we help her with her blog. But Marina is amazing because she's got this huge following. So if you're looking for somebody that's an example of a business coach that you want to help you become more of with your business, or you want your clients to be able to be more successful, like, check out Marina Simone. I also mentioned Michelle Cunningham, another one of my clients. Michelle is, like Marina, an expert in network marketing. And Michelle has got this amazing brand. It's extremely powerful. She's very high energy. She's funny. And she's all about rainbows and unicorns and lots of pink. And so with her, we do workbooks for her. We do videos for her. We do graphics for her. With Michelle and with Marina, they're influencers that I look at to see what other people will need. I look at the top two influencers in my circle as far as what they're doing, because I know that their clients are going to come to me and say, hey, can you help me do what Marina or Michelle are doing? So I look at the influencers in the field that I'm part of to make sure that I can understand what they do. And learn from it. Same thing for you. So if you are a video editor and you use Filmora, and if you're not part of groups on how to use Filmora on Facebook, if you're not following a couple YouTube experts on who are always pushing out new videos about cutting edge ways to use Filmora, if you're not updated on what new products and upgrades and so forth are coming out from Filmora, then you're not looking for influencers. You have your skill set and you're using it, but you're not really on the cutting edge. That's what you want to be able to do, right? When you think about your social media, you don't just talk about what you do, you share what people that inspire you do. You look at what other ones are doing and you try to find ways to be part of it, right? So by mentioning Michelle and Marina, that helps my business. I love them as people. They're good friends of mine, they're clients as well. But they're people I want to be associated with because they're really, really awesome and they have huge followings. Same thing for you. Who are the influencers? If you are a copy editor, if you are a graphic designer, if you're an accountant, who are the Michelles and Marinas of the industry that you want to work with? If you want to work with American business clients and you want to work with people that need help with balancing their accountant, their books, if you want people to attract people like that, then you want to be part of groups and follow people who are speakers and influencers and coaches in that space. There are business coaches that coach Americans how to outsource their accounting. Do you know who they are? Are you following any of them? If you're an accountant in the Philippines looking to do business with Americans, you should know this. Figure it out. Go out and Google it. Find them on YouTube. Follow them. So as you're building your social media narrative, besides doing it with influencers, you want to get to a point where people start referring things to you. You want to make sure that you're able to not only attract people, but keep people that will come to you. So the ideal thing you set up as a virtual assistant is that you don't have to go out and apply for jobs. You don't have to look for clients. Clients are referring people to you. So to be able to do that, you've got to set up a very clear idea of what you do. You want to have, again, a Facebook business page that lists out what you do. You want to have a web page with a portfolio or whatever that's easy accessible. So someone like Marina can give somebody that they know a link about me and they'll watch one of my videos on YouTube and go, oh yeah, I want to work with this guy. So you empower the influencers in your universe to actually influence for you. You can have an affiliate program, you can do a referral program, but the end goal really is to think about how to grow your business. Not just from you doing it yourself, but from having people do it for you. So your social media is so much more than just posting about what you do. It's posting why you do it and how you do it as an expert. It's sharing the joys you get out of being a virtual assistant and helping other people's businesses grow. And it's all about attracting influencers, bringing them into your circle, benefiting from that, give and take, share things as well. Always give them compliments, always thank them for their business, always be awesome, make sure that they know that you think that they are awesome. You do that, you're going to be very successful because you're going to get more referrals than you can ever do. And then you're going to be faced with a situation where, do I set up my own VA agency now? Am I ready to hire people to work under me? I know several of you on this call do that. And that's been your goal, is you want to not only provide services for people, but you want to grow a business out of it. But that's not everybody. If you are happy just being a virtual assistant, you just need a paycheck, it's a sideline job, you're just doing this while you're taking care of the kids at home, you don't have a big master plan right now. Maybe you will in the future, but right now you don't. You still want to do the same thing for your clients. If you are working for clients doing social media, you want to do the things I mentioned about influencers. I'm going to share one more thing with you about social media. Now, I mentioned Marina Simone. When you check out Marina, you'll see that she's all about this strategy called 333. And I encourage you to check out her YouTube videos, sign up for one of her courses, do whatever you need to do to get involved with it. But at the gist of it, it's about giving people compliments and engaging them before you sell. I know we all get this, right? Constantly in our messages, our DMs in IG, our PMs in Facebook, and our email, people saying, hey, I'm an expert. Do you want 10,000 followers? Then pay me money and I'll do it for you. And you don't know who they are. They just send you this random message out of the blue. I mean, who actually does that? I don't know anybody who would do that. Would you? I mean, would you click on somebody's link that says like they're going to promise to get you 10,000 followers if you give them money? I mean, there's probably some that are legit out there, but there's other ways to do it. And you don't want to come across like that. You don't want to come across to your potential clients or the potential clients of your clients spammy, right? So you want to think about engagement. You want to think about how do you compliment people? How do you make them feel like they're liked and that you want to build trust with them? You build that relationship up first before you sell to them. So if you're a virtual assistant, you're following someone like me, and you reach out to me and say, "Hey Dan, I can do your books for you." I'll be like, "Okay, I know 100 different virtual assistants that do bookkeeping, and you just randomly message me out of the blue. Why should I bother?" Maybe you'll get lucky and 1 out of 1,000,000 people will actually say, "Yeah, please, I want your business." But most of them are going to delete you, block you, ignore you, right? So instead of saying, "Hey Dan, I want to do your books for you," say, "Hey Dan, I love what you do. You got great videos. I love your YouTube channel. It's amazing. It inspires me." And then the next day say, "You know what? I was wondering if you know anybody who's looking for accounting help," but not in the first message. And don't always put it about the person you want to do business with. Ask them for people around them first. You do these things to build a relationship, right? The idea is that you don't want to be spammy, that you want to use your social media, that you're building this narrative about who you are, and then when you engage with people, you don't come across as fake. It's hard to do because there's a lot of fake profiles out there. There are probably more fake profiles on IG than there are real profiles on IG. So how do you get past that? How do you help yourself land more clients? You be more realistic. Again, especially if you're working with American small business owners, entrepreneurs, business owners, coaches, authors, trainers, speakers. They need someone they can trust to help them build their brand. They are doing what they love, but they're just too busy to do it themselves. So they're going to finally give up some of it to somebody. And if that person's you, you want to really do well. You make them successful, you'll be successful. Again, it frustrates me to no end, and I understand why it happens. When I hear about a virtual assistant who basically just kind of like mailed it in, just did the bare minimum, just didn't really even try. Now, sometimes it's the client's fault because the client doesn't give directions. Sometimes the client's not very clear. Sometimes the client has a business that's not going to succeed. But a lot of times on the VA side, it's because you just don't quite get in the mindset of the business owner. You're not really trying to go above and beyond. And you can do that and do that well, but you're going to have a lot of turnover. You're going to constantly be trying to get paid. You're not going to have probably a successful virtual assistant business. If you really want to have a successful virtual assistant business where you get paid consistently, on time, by high quality clients that you love working with, you gotta put yourself into it. So, and we all know that, right? So this isn't something that's just about the Philippines and the U.S. It's every country, every culture, but just something I see sometimes. On the flip side, let me talk for a minute about when I see the most successful aspects of a Filipino virtual assistant. It's because they really like their client. They really think the client does something cool, and they have fun being part of it. Again, if that's you, share it. That will attract more clients. If you have one amazing client and you want 4 amazing clients, talk about how amazing your client is and how much you love them. That will attract other people in their circle to want to work with you. So basically, next, we're going to talk about how to not just engage with clients, but how to really grow your business even more. So when you talk about your business, how do you approach your business? What do you do? Can you sum it up? My mentor, one of my good friends, Bill Walsh. And if you don't follow him, you should follow him. He's an American entrepreneur, small business coach. He's amazing. You can find a lot of his talks on YouTube. And Bill will teach you certain things just for free that are priceless. And one of them he teaches people and taught me is really how to say what you do. Have your elevator pitch down. Have it in a 1-minute story. So when you're trying to engage with people, they just know that they want to work with you, that they like you right away. And as a virtual assistant working for somebody 6,000 miles away, never meeting in person, just communicating through Zoom, it's not easy to be likable, right? You have to really work at it to put yourself in a position where people will like you. Think about that for a second. You're probably a nice person. Almost everyone on this call, I'm sure, is a very nice person. But how does somebody that never met you before, that's half a world away, that just met you out of the blue on a Zoom call, how are they going to get to know you? You need to put that together in some kind of story. You need to tell your story. This is what Bill taught me. You need to be able to have your 15-second elevator pitch down. My name is Dan Meyer, and I'm the president and founder of Sonic VA, and we help American business owners grow their business even more successful with consistent efforts from our virtual assistants. Hire a virtual assistant, to let you focus on what you do best and hire us to do everything else. Something like that. That wasn't the best example. But my point is, who am I? What do I do? Why do I do it? And how does it benefit you? You put that into a 15-second speech, and boom, you've got your elevator pitch. Then you turn that into your marketing pieces, into your narrative on social media. It all flows out of you telling your story. You are an amazing person. You've decided to go down the path of being a virtual assistant to be able to help other businesses virtually, to help people grow what they do, to be more even successful at what they're doing. That's a good story to tell. Why do you do it, though? What's your motivation? Are you a single mom? Are you the sole provider? Are you the one that's a breadwinner in your family? Are you trying to help your siblings go through school so you're making extra money? Whatever that is, you need to share that in your story, right? I do what I do because I love helping American business owners and Filipino virtual assistants. I've talked about it before. I've literally trained probably close to 10,000 Filipinos in the last 10 years. I've been able to do things in the call center industry. I used to own a call center. I mean, I've had some amazing stuff. I met Maria Ressa, right? We've had a conversation once. I was at the same room with Pinoy. I've been able to testify in front of the Philippine Senate as far as the threats of AI to the call center industry. These things are pretty cool, but they're cool to me because they show how much I love the Philippines and how much I want to see the Philippines do better. Same for American business owners. I spent the last year and a half going around the country, speaking to small business owners, talking about how they can grow their business by outsourcing some of their work to a virtual assistant. I talk about my story all the time. You should too. What is your story? What is your why? Why do you do what you do? Make it loud and clear. The best way to summarize your story, and this is the last thing I'll mention that Bill taught me, is you need to have a 1-minute video. So you have that 50-minute talk when you're in front of somebody or on a Zoom call, but you want to have a 1-minute marketing video. Tell your story in 10 seconds. Who you, that 15-second elevator pitch, 10, 15 seconds, who you are, what you do, why you do it, and how you do it. And then you talk about, a little bit more about the problems people have that you solve. If you are a graphic designer and you are really good at making IG graphics that are very engaging, then what you do is you help small business owners get even more visibility and you increase their engagement through your amazing graphics. Talk about that. In your resume, in your marketing profile, in your job applications, in the times you post for jobs that are on Online Jobs PH or FVA or Facebook Jobs, whatever you're doing, lead with what you do. But it's got to be sincere. It can't be spammy and fake. So it's got to come from the heart. So if you can really do what you say, it's going to come out in the way you say it. And there's no way better to do it than a video. You should have a 1-minute video. You should have a 30-second version of it so you can put it on IG Reels, even though I don't think IG Reels is still available in the Philippines, right? It's not, right? But soon it should be. And you can do stories, video stories. Obviously, Facebook's got stories, Facebook Live, and there's TikTok. You should have short, quick videos, 1 minute max. Talks about who you are, what you do, why you do it. But you want to have a hook. Why do you do it differently? What's special about you? My hook is the fact that I've lived in the Philippines for 10 years. I know the Filipino culture very well. I've got a huge network. I've spoken in dozens of cities in front of hundreds of audiences, mostly BPO workers, call center workers. And what I do is basically talk about the fact that I have this huge network in the Philippines and I know the Philippines very well. So that gives me credibility. So people go, okay, yeah, so now I know I should listen to you because you're not just selling something you kind of resell or know about, you've actually lived it. So when you sell what you do because it's something you lived, if you love being a graphic designer, if you really get joy out of being a graphic designer, then talk about it a lot, share it. Put in that video. And the hook for you as a graphic designer is that you will put your passion into designing graphical images for your clients that will help them attract new customers, retain existing customers, and just up their engagement because you love making graphics. That's your hook. How does it help them? Well, demonstrate that, right? You've had experience that shows that when you've done a content calendar or you do build a month-long strategy or you build pillars, it's even more effective. Put some technical pieces into it. Like I talk about that in my business, right? So as a virtual staffing expert, my meat behind the hook, what the bait is on the hook, is that it's cheap and affordable, right? And it's quick. And you can trust it because it's not like Fiverr where you're going out there and just, randomly picking somebody off the internet. It's someone that I've vetted, that I probably have either met or at least done Zoom calls with in person. So that way that when I refer a VA to a client, there's some trust that's already been built. What helps you build that trust for you? It's showing what you do. It's giving examples of your work. So in that 1-minute video, you got to show a couple of visuals of what you do. A quick clip of some video editing you've done, a client testimony about how amazing of an accountant you are, whatever it may be, put that in that 1-minute video. And then you want to, again, list out a few of the things that you do that add value. You do it quickly, you do it professionally, you do it error-free. Your clients, when you've worked with them, have been able to increase their revenue by 10% year over year, whatever stat or fact or thing that you can put in there to kind of add a little more weight to it. That's what you put in a 1-minute video. Your 10 to 15 second why you, then what it is that you do that provides a hook, what makes you special and different, and then what is the meat they get off that hook? What do they get from you that they don't get from everybody else? And then a little bit more data to back it up, a little more stats, a little more facts, right? You put that into a 1-minute video and you share that with a client, then they're going to be like, wow, I want to work with this person. I see you, I hear you, I understand you, I like you, I want to do business with you. That's how it works, right? That's the age we live in. We live in this world where everything's driven by video. So sending a resume, right? Sending a 1-page marketing piece, it's going to help. It's going to be a lot better than a resume, but you should put a video too and do both, right? Because some people like to see a resume. Some people will just watch the video. Do both. So when you reach out to somebody, whether it be through a job portal or you're meeting them on the internet or you're doing something, take the initiative to introduce yourself, to make sure that you're likable, that you're trustworthy, that you're someone the client wants to do business with. So I'm going to recap. Basically, you start with making yourself an expert, right? You figure out how to get that Facebook business page done. You update your LinkedIn. You put a lot of content out there that shows that you're an expert. You talk about yourself in a way that you're an expert. You build a social media narrative across all your social media that really shows your why and who you are. You make sure you get rid of that old resume. You do the one-page marketing piece. You do the 1-minute video. You'd be much more successful because you're going to be ready to wow people. And again, I wish this wasn't true, but this is why I'm doing this right now. Because most Filipino virtual assistants, you just don't wow people when you first put yourself out there. The percentage of Filipino virtual assistants, no matter what their background is, that can basically get someone's attention online is hard. It's rare. It's difficult. Because, again, you're doing it thousands of miles away. You're doing it out of the blue. You're doing it without a lot of connectivity that basically would let them want to trust you and work with you. So you gotta get past that. You gotta bridge that gap yourself. And you gotta do it because they're too busy. The whole reason they want a VA is they're too busy. So it needs to be a quick, simple decision for them. They need to know in the first 10 seconds of interacting with you if they want to work with you or not. If they don't decide in the first 10 seconds, they're probably going to say no or move on because you got to hook them, right? Your hook has to be that good. All right, so that's just a summary of kind of the things that I talk about. I put, again, in the Dan Meyer Virtual Staffing Expert Facebook page, the slide that I used for presentation. I didn't quite follow it, but if you want to refer back to any of those slides, you can there. I encourage you to please follow us on YouTube. I will be doing another one of these the first Wednesday of December with some more topics, more tricks and tips on how to land American clients. And I'm easy to reach out to. You can find me on Facebook. You can send us an email to info@soniclinux.com. You can follow us on YouTube or drop a comment. Whatever it is you want to do, interact with me. You want help with your resume? You want tips on how to find a job? I'll give you a minute. I can't give you a lot of time, but I can help you, give you a tip, share something with you. I'll be happy to do that. So basically, that's it. I'm not going to waste a lot of your time. We took about an hour, which is about what I expected. If you have anything that you want to discuss with me, feel free to reach out. I do sometimes get bombarded in messages, so I can't always get back right away to everything. But if you send an email to info@soniclinux.com or if you drop a comment on the YouTube channel or even here on this page for Dan Meyer Virtual Staffing Expert, we will get back to you. So I want to thank you for your time. It's now lunchtime in the Philippines, so hopefully you go out there and have something fun. I would kill right now for some mung inasal. I don't know why I missed that. I haven't been there in a year and a half, and the first thing I want to have when I get back to the Philippines is manga asal. I don't know why. I just love the chicken. It's something special about it. So yeah. So hopefully I'll be back in the Philippines soon. Maybe we'll meet someday in person. But otherwise, I will see you again on the first Wednesday in December to have another conversation about how Filipino virtual assistants can land American business clients. Thank you for your time. I'm going to end the live now. Get out there and have an amazing day.